Happy Wednesday. Today's the first day, or I guess tomorrow's the first day of my spring break. So that means that I will have off next week. So that's exciting for me. If anyone else has spring break, you can let me know. But I think a lot of you are not. Yeah, I just got back from work. So this is my work clothes. But, I look fancy for you guys too, not just for work. I get dressed up. And I look fancy today for peanut butter. Because today, giving you a little treat, we're going to make peanut butter. I have trusty blender here. It's very nicely well used. It's a Vitamix, which is a pretty powerful blender. You don't have to have a Vitamix to make peanut butter, but it helps to have a powerful blender. You'll see it works really quickly. I have peanuts here. You need about 4 cups of peanuts, which is what I have in here. So we'll just use this whole jar. Yes, I can't see. The computer's far away from me right now, so I can't see, but I see bread. I see bread emojis. Well, that sounds delicious. And I'll be having a peanut butter mango toast. So pretty similar, except not a smoothie. I don't like smoothies that much. Fun fact about me. I like to eat my food, so I don't like to drink it. Unless it's really hot, then I'll have a smoothie. But in general, I don't like smoothies. So, peanuts. I brought this bag. I'm not going to open it because we have enough here. Pumpkin says she puts coffee in it. I guess that makes it better because it's like you're drinking your caffeine. I use these dry roasted peanuts. You can roast your own peanuts if you want to, but that takes more time, obviously. I just get dry roasted peanuts in bulk from nuts.com. I love them. They're not over roasted. They're perfectly roasted. That's the one problem, I guess, with nuts.com. Sponsor me. That's the problem with peanuts. Sometimes if you buy them pre-roasted, they could be burnt, but they're not burnt. They're never burnt from here, so I love them. So 4 cups of peanuts, and this is optional. I'm going to add some turbinado sugar. This sugar it's brown sugar, but it has a very caramely taste. It's very good. So you can add whatever sugar you have, or none at all. And I'm going to add some cayenne pepper. Also optional, this is my sweet and spicy peanut butter. So this used to be a secret, and now it's not. Now you guys are going to learn how to make Elisa's famous sweet and spicy peanut butter. And I'm being famous in this house. It's famous. So, hello, okay mom, welcome to the chat. So I have 4 cups of peanut butter, and it might get a little loud, but we'll see. I'm just going to put it right in here. You don't have to add anything but peanut butter. You don't have to add anything but peanuts to it. It's magic. Put this on. Use the tamper. All right, when you're blending it, you're going to use the tamper, and you're going to start at a 1, and then slowly build your way up. Let me see. You have to see this. Start at a 1, and then slowly build your way up to a 10. So I'll move this a little farther so it's not too loud, hopefully. Cover your ears. So we'll start at a 1. Tamp it down like this. not done yet. But right now it looks like that. It's almost peanut butter. So that was after 1 minute. This was after 1 minute of blending. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. So let's keep going. Cover your ears again. What it looks like. It's peanut butter. Look at that. It's peanut butter. I forgot to look at the time before I stopped it, but it was probably around 2 minutes. Now at this point, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of cayenne. This is optional, but this is my secret, not so secret, spicy peanut butter recipe. Half a teaspoon of cayenne. Half a teaspoon of cayenne is pretty spicy, so I wouldn't go more than that. Unless you have a very high spice tolerance, maybe you can. About a teaspoon or so of the sugar. I might do a little less than a teaspoon. Pumpkin says, make some for Munchkin. Munchkin doesn't like peanut butter. He's over here, though. When I move this, I think you'll be able to see him. Okay, we're going to go again. One more time. And just get that mixed in. Oh, we don't really need this. Eventually, the peanut butter becomes so smooth that you don't need to tamper anymore. It'll blend by itself. So no smoothie. It was that easy. It took 3 minutes. And look how smooth it is and creamy. I have a spoon here, so let me put this to the side for now. Vitamix should sponsor me too. I love my Vitamix. I use it all the time. All right, let's regroup here. Let me show you how smooth it is. You can't get that from the store. Well, there are some brands that are pretty good, okay? But most brands are not this creamy. And it took 3 minutes. So make your own peanut butter if you like peanut butter like I do. This is like, it's more like the natural peanut butter than like the Jif or whatever Skippy peanut butter. It's more like the natural one. but the oil doesn't separate. You know how in the natural peanut butters, the oil's sitting on top and the I guess nut goo, it's like nut paste is on the bottom, so the oil separated from the peanut butter. But I think that's because it's sitting on the shelf a long time. I've never had the oil separate on this peanut butter because I eat it within a few weeks and it's fine. You can store it in the fridge, but if you're going to eat it relatively quickly, like within a week or two, you can store it at room temperature. It doesn't go bad, really. It doesn't really go bad. If it's hot, you might, like, maybe in the summer I'll put it in the fridge. But if you put it in the fridge, it firms up a little bit. It's not as runny like this. So yeah, you guys got a treat today. I showed you how to make peanut butter. You can make other nut butters in the Vitamix, but peanut butter blends up the fastest and becomes the creamiest. I've had success with, I know Pumpkin mentioned last time, hazelnut butter. I've had success with hazelnut butter. But almond butter is a pain in the butt. It's just very difficult to make creamy like this. Whereas the peanuts, like I said, they just turn into butter instantly. They're not instantly, but it feels like it's instant compared to the almond butter, which I think I had going for like 10 minutes on and off, and it wouldn't turn into, it became a paste, but not as creamy as this is. So, are there any questions on peanut butter? I don't know who's here. I see some people here. Or any other nut butter? Yeah, so to recap, all we did was we put in the blender. I have a high-powered blender. I have a Vitamix, but there are other blenders you can get that'll be as powerful. I put 4 cups of peanuts in the blender. Turn it on high for 3 minutes about. Then I put optional cayenne, a half a teaspoon of cayenne, and then about a teaspoon of turbinado sugar. Pumpkin asked if an immersion blender would work, and I'm assuming you mean like the immersion blenders are the stick blenders. No, I don't think those are strong enough to blend nuts, unless you have like a really, really good one. I think, in my experience, those aren't as strong as a whole blender. I think a Ninja might work. I think you might have a Ninja, or somebody, maybe Mom has a Ninja blender. They might work. But you just use less, because I think the Ninja's smaller usually, so you just wouldn't do 4 cups. You can do 2 cups or something, however much it can hold. But yes. So I encourage everyone to try to make their own peanut butter. It's cheaper than buying it at the store if you eat a lot of it, like I do. And it takes 3 minutes, and it's tasty. And I didn't even add salt. You can make peanut butter, which I do often, just peanuts, nothing else, and it tastes good. If you like peanuts, it's much better than with all the additives. But you can also add things like I did today. You can add different spices, different flavors, and have fun with it. So what I'm gonna do now is, I showed you how to make peanut butter. That was the kind of bonus for today. But I'm going to make some toast. So I'm going to make some toast with the mango bread we made on Sunday. We switched it last week. We made mango bread on Sunday, so we're gonna make some toast with the mango bread we made on Sunday, and I'm gonna put peanut butter on it. And I know that some of you think that peanut butter and mango is weird. It's similar. I swear, it's similar to peanut and banana. It's delicious. Not weird at all. And it is mango season, even though I used dry mangoes in the bread. It is mango season. There are those cute little yellow champagne mangoes at the store now. If you live in, okay, thank you, Zala. If you live, I guess, in the United States, I'm not sure of other places if they get them, but if you live in the United States, we usually have the big mangoes at most grocery stores, but the really good ones are the little yellow ones, which I can show you soon because my husband is coming home with the mangoes he picked up from the store soon, and they're really cute and they are very creamy and sweet and delicious, and but they have a certain season, so basically the spring. So it's spring now and they're at the store, so that's really exciting. But I will put it on be right back screen, the be right back screen, and I will make some toast. Yes, Zalo, get back to work. Zalo, get back to work. Yeah, Zalo said before I forget, he said that it looks like you can make it in a Ninja blender, but be careful that it doesn't overheat. It probably has a smaller engine, motor, so maybe it overheats more easily. Okay, I will be right back. So while the mango bread is toasting, I want to show you the mango bread. I already cut into it, obviously, and was eating it. So here is a crumb of the mango bread. It's still soft. Although, honestly, I think I could get the hydration a little higher because it could be softer. But you can see the little mangoes in it. They look like little gems. And they are, they plump up in the dough, so they absorb a lot of the moisture that's in the dough, and that's why they get all plump like that. And it's delicious. I swear, it's one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite sourdough I make with fruit in it, but it's one of my favorite sourdoughs altogether. All of them, I feel like all of them are my favorite. I like all of them so much, but this one, like, I hadn't made it in a while, and I made it twice last week, and I was like, ooh, this was, yeah, I should be making this more often, essentially, because it's delicious. So if you like raisin bread, I think you'd like this. It's like tropical raisin bread, I guess. You can think of it that way. But yeah, I and the before I forget, the recipe for this is on my blog, jerseygirlbreadshop.com. Also, Pumpkin says make cinnamon raisin bread. We'll also do that eventually. We will do that eventually. But for now you get mango bread, which is better. But the recipe for this is on my blog, jerseygirlbreadshop.com. Thank you, Firma159. Welcome to the chat. You're new here, so you can introduce yourself. Let us know, are you interested in baking? If so, what do you like to bake? What do you want to learn about baking? Anything you want us to know about yourself, go for it and introduce yourself in the chat. But so if you want to make this, the recipe is my blog, jerseygirlbreadshop.com. We made this last Sunday, so you can always go back also and watch the stream. It's still on Twitch, on Twitch VODs. That's what you call them. And then when it becomes no longer available on Twitch, I will put it on YouTube. So it'll be on my YouTube page, which is also at jerseygirlbreadshop.com. So if you're interested in making this, I have provided some resources for you, so you could recreate it. You're getting a treat because I'm trying not to share too many of the recipes that I sell, but this one is one that I sell. So, and it's a hot seller too. There's Munch right there. So yeah, how is everyone's week going? My week is going well. I'm done with my week, actually. So, and I'm on spring break, so I'm excited for that. A child. Yeah, Munchkin's a child. He's a 15-year-old child, which means he's an old man child. And he's taking a bath right now, which is very common. He likes to bathe. He's very clean, but he's also very stinky, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah, so next week, well, first of all, before I get to next week, this week is pizza week. So on Saturday at 8 a.m., we are going to be streaming pizza making. And it's sourdough pizza. The crust is sourdough pizza. So we're going to be fermenting the crust. And we're also going to be adding 2 different toppings. It's not going to be traditional toppings, so I'll tell you that. No pineapple though. But it won't be traditional toppings. So you'll get to see some fun and exciting toppings. No peanuts though, so or no peanut butter. No mango, but actually that's a good idea, Pumpkin, so maybe next time. But right now we're not doing mango, but we're doing some fun things. So prepare for that. Prepare for that on Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern time. If you're not up at 8 a.m., we will be making it for a few hours, so you can stop by a little later and catch up with us. Yes, so let me go get the mango sourdough that's in the toaster, and I'm going to put peanut butter on it, and I'll have lunch with you and we can chat. Hello everyone, I was right back. So you can see, this is my toast. I got it quite toasty, maybe a little bit too much, but there are little mangoes in it, and I'm going to put some of the peanut butter we just made on the toast. Do it this way. I don't usually eat right from the, well actually that's not true. I will eat right from the container, but usually I put it in little jars first. Which I will do when we're done. Okay. The cross-contamination is okay because it's just for me. No one else will eat this. Okay. So Fermo said, honestly, I'm more into cooking overall than just baking. But hey, I'm always up for learning something new. Right now, I'm checking out your dishes, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed and definitely curious. And Fermo says, I like that everything is well organized and visually elegant. Thank you, Fermo. My friend helped me with the website. I'm assuming that's where you're on. You're on the website. So she helped me design it. And I do take the pictures myself, though. I'm an amateur photographer, an amateur food photographer. But thank you so much for the compliment. I'm glad you're curious. It's good to be curious because I'm very creative. I have a very interesting flavor palette too. So you'll see, I like mangoes and peanut butter. I love peanut butter. As if anyone's on my Instagram, which you can follow if you want updates on when I'm streaming and the recipes I'm making. Last night I posted, this morning I posted a short that's actually also on my Twitch clips, and it's of me just saying I'm the peanut queen. So I'm the bread queen and the peanut queen apparently. So I just give myself these titles, and once I give them to myself, they're real titles. That's how it works. Okay, let's try this. I already know what it tastes like, but I'll let you know what it tastes like. Mango Queen, and the Mango Queen too. Fermo asked, where should she start? And Fermo, I would say, do you have a sourdough starter? Because where I would start is to make a sourdough starter if you don't have one already. And I have instructions on my blog on how to make a sourdough starter. No discard sourdough starter, really easy. No fussy. I'm not fussy with my sourdough starter. I said this last week to everyone who could hear that sourdough starter should not be hard to make and to upkeep. I don't discard my sourdough starter. I don't feed it exactly 4 hours or exactly 6 hours before I start baking. I feed it, yes, but I can use my sourdough starter right from the fridge and it will work. I don't even need to feed it before I start. I will feed it before I start, usually, but I don't need to. If I forget, I just take it right from the fridge and it still works. It might work a little slower, but it still works. So that's where I recommend anyone starts. If you don't have a sourdough starter, start with that. Once you get a sourdough starter, I would start with the country loaf, which is the plain one, and then work your way into adding inclusions and doing different things with it. Like I said, I make bagels with it. I'm going to make pizza with it this week. And what's great about a sourdough starter is if you're interested in baking bread and you baked with yeast before, it's very similar to baking with yeast because it is yeast, it's wild yeast. But with the yeast packets, you have to get it from the store, you have to buy it. And if they run out of yeast, you can't bake bread. But you have infinite yeast in your sourdough starter. Once you have a sourdough starter, you have all the yeast. And you can bake as much bread as you want as long as you keep feeding it. As long as you keep feeding your sourdough starter. So, I'm an advocate for starting your sourdough starter and starting to bake bread. And it's not as hard as other people make it out to be in terms of upkeeping your sourdough starter. Yeah, mine lives in the fridge. Mine's in the fridge right now. And I think I'm going to bake tomorrow, so I will feed it tonight, but it's not that fussy. Zalo said the masa sourdough is one of my favorites and is a unique one. Yeah, the masa one, which I'll do again on stream. I did it the first day I streamed, but not everyone was here. Obviously, it was the first day I streamed, so I didn't have as much of a following. So I'll redo it. But that one I make with, I call it like a taco bread because I make it with maseca flour, which is nixtamalized corn flour that they use to make corn tacos, corn tortillas. So it kind of tastes a little bit like a corn tortilla, but it's sourdough bread. And it's very soft. The crumb is more dense because of the masa, right? When you add different flours to it, you usually end up with might end up with a slightly denser crumb, but it is still so soft, and it just the flavor is so different and so cool because I really like corn tortillas. I think they taste really good, so why not put it in the bread? So that's what we did. Yeah, and Zalo says he likes that one a lot. Fermo said, I didn't know baking has so many possibilities. This is sick. Well, okay, I'm not a trained baker. Like, I taught myself. I'm a self-taught baker. And I'm also very creative. So I do break the rules a lot. You know, when you go to baking school, they teach you all the rules, which are really good to know and really helpful for a foundation. But I think a lot of the things I might do might break some of those rules, like how I maintain my sourdough starter. But the thing is, with sourdough especially, sourdough has always kind of been like a homesteading type thing. It's more recently become more institutionalized and more professional bakeries use sourdough. But in the past, they all used packet yeast because that was, I guess, more standard, and it gets you the same results every time. Like packet yeast will get you the same results every time, and sourdough is a little finicky. There's so many variables with sourdough that it might get you something slightly different every time. Not so different, but you know, the variables like what kind of bacteria is in your sourdough starter, what kind of flour do you feed your sourdough starter, how long are you fermenting your dough, and all of these things. But it's one of those things I feel like you can kind of play around with and see what you like. How hydrated do you like your dough? Which is just how much water you put into your dough. What add-ins do you put into your dough? Do you put any add-ins? What flours do you use? Right? I mean, I use a mix usually for my plain doughs. I use a mix of bread flour and white whole wheat flour because I like a little bit of whole wheat in, but white whole wheat is just a lighter form of whole wheat. It's just a lighter color, but it's just as healthy as whole wheat. But you can add different ones. I like rye bread, so I add rye flour to my sourdough sometimes. I add regular whole wheat, spelt flour, einkorn flour. They all taste different, and they do different things to the dough. They make the dough feel different when you use these different types of flours, and they might build gluten better or worse, depending, right? So there are a lot of possibilities. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you too. So thank you for following, and thank you for watching. Today, I did show you how to make peanut butter earlier. some of you might have missed it. I just blended 4 cups of peanuts in here. That's really all I did. And you guys got to hear the loud blender. But because today usually I just do a midweek toast. After I get home from work, I just eat lunch with you and just show you the bread I made the previous week or the previous stream and chat. But hopefully, once the summer comes, I can do a little bit something different in the midweek, something more fun. Maybe we'll do a mini baking session or something. But on the weekends, like this week on Saturday, we're making sourdough pizza. So, on the weekends, we have even more fun than on Wednesdays. I don't know how many of you are here. Let's see who's here. Oh, there's some people in here. But Firmo says, I'm not going to miss the pizza streaming. I love Italian cuisine. That's good. It might be a little different than what you're used to because I'm putting on different toppings. One of them will be kind of Italian-esque. And another one will actually be a Mexican pizza. So I'm giving you a hint at what I'm doing. But it'll be fun. And you can really put any toppings on your pizza except for pineapple. That's against the rules. But if you like pineapple, you can do it. So you can put any toppings on as long as you don't put too many toppings on, because I'm going to make it thin crust. And when you make it thin crust, it's kind of delicate. If you put too many toppings on, it gets soggy. But yeah, you can put lots of different toppings on your pizza. Oh yes, so I'll announce it now, but I'll announce it again maybe later in the stream and maybe again on Saturday when there's more people here. But I did start a Discord. The link to my Discord is on my Twitch page. I don't have it on any other page, just on my Twitch page. In the link section with all my social medias, Discord is on there. Vermo says, it's okay, it'd make it more interesting. Yes, my pizzas are interesting. It's not going to be tomato and cheese, unfortunately. But maybe one day we'll do something like that. I know my husband loves just tomato and cheese type things, and I like to make things more complicated. But yes, my Discord is on my Twitch page where all my socials are. It's a brand new baby Discord. There's really no one in there except me and Pumpkin, my sister, who's the moderator, and a few other people. It's there for you to post any things that you make. It doesn't have to be something you made based on what I did. Like, for example, I made mango bread and then say you can only post the mango bread that you made. No. It's whatever bread that you're working on, you can post in there. It could be something we made in stream. It could be something else you're interested in making. You can look at the Discord and you'll see the different sections. I made different sections for if you want to show off your bread. But I know some of you in here don't make bread. I want everyone to make bread. But some of you here, I know someone said once that they like to make pies. I'm not a pie baker, but you are. So I made a section for the sweets. So if you want to put your pies in there, you can show each other your pies. I have another section that I made just for feedback. If you are having trouble with your baking, you can take a picture and maybe write some information about what happened and what you did and what you think went wrong. And maybe me or somebody else could answer once we have more people in there. Can answer and say, oh, I think this is what happened. So we just started that. If you're interested, feel free to join. And you can take a look at, all the sections and all the rules and everything and see what you can post where. I already started posting in there just to show you guys uh, like that it's active and where to put things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly, I will post in there, but it's for you to show off, what you're baking and to chat with each other about baking or cooking and stuff like that. And there's also some sections where you can just chat about other things if you so choose to. So if you're interested, join our Discord. I'm excited. I want if if you guys start baking stuff and posting them, I would love to see all those things. So yes, I'll announce it again later today and then on Saturday again. Is anyone doing anything interesting this weekend or this week? Is anyone else on spring break if you're a student or a teacher? Firmo says, when I'm whipping up a dish, I'm all about breaking the rules now and then. It's what helps me unleash my creativity, explore new flavors, and uncover unique ways of doing things. Firmo, I agree. I think it's more common, and paper paws and whiskers, hello, welcome to the chat. But Firmo, I agree. I think with cooking, it's more common for people to break the rules, whereas people are more afraid to break the rules in baking. And there's a reason for that, right? Because baking, if you change something, it really could mess something up. If you're making a cookie and you mess up the liquid ingredients, and it could become a flat mess and you messed everything up, right? But once you get the hang of it, if you get really good at making cookies, you can figure out how to do things without messing up the whole cookie. The same thing with bread. I think bread is a little easier than a cookie. I think cookies can get messed up easier than bread is all I mean. I think it's harder once you get the basics down to mess up the bread. But for example, with the mango sourdough, I added dried mangoes to it. It's easier to add dried ingredients to the sourdough than to add wet ingredients, because the wet ingredients really messes up with the hydration level, and it could make it too wet and then it becomes a mess. It's hard to work with. But when you add dried ingredients, it could soak up the moisture from the dough. So what I did was I just added more moisture to the dough to begin with, and then it ended up working out fine. I think it could have added a little bit more actually moisture, but it still ended up working out fine, and it's delicious, and it came out like it seemed like it was around 70% hydration, although it was more than that. It was more like 80% hydration, which that's baker's math. Baker's math doesn't make any sense. When I say 80% hydration, that means it's like 8 to 10 ratio, which you could lower that. you could simplify that, but let's say 8 to 10 ratio water to flour. So I had 400 grams of 400 grams of water and 500 grams of flour. So that's quite a high hydration, but because it had the mangoes in it, it didn't feel like high hydration because the mangoes sucked up the liquid. So once you get used to little things like that, you can play around with it. You can break some of the rules. You can make your own recipes. You can, do your own spin on certain things. Vermo says, I confirm I've ruined a lot of cookies. Yeah, I think cookies are a little harder because you can, if you add too much butter or something like that, it's messy. It'll just become like a pancake. Or they could be too cakey. I mean, it'll be delicious still probably, but I think they're a little bit more fragile than bread. So what's great, the mango bread's my favorite because, one of my favorites, when you get a piece of mango, it just feels so like gooey in a good way and sweet, and it's contrasting. So the peanut butter I made is also spicy. So that gooiness and the sweet gooiness is contrasting with that spicy peanut butter, because like the dried mangoes taste like candy. They're so sweet, but in a good way, not in an overbearing way, and because they're unsweetened, the sweetness just comes from the mangoes. They're just naturally sweet from the mangoes. So it just contrasts with that creamy, spicy peanut butter. It's so good, so good. Um, and I think even if you think of it this way, I eat a lot of uh, peanut butter, and I like it's the spicy peanut butter. If you like Thai food, that's kind of like the thing that's going on, right? Like in Thai food, there's a lot of, uh, you know, there's a lot of peanuts, but there's also a lot of sweet and spicy and sour and salty all mixed together. There's also mango dishes, peanut dishes, and stuff like that. Um, Fermo asked, how long have you been in the baking world? You seem to know a lot, and your approach seems very technical. Um, that's a really good question, Fermo. I've been baking for a long time. Like I said, I'm a self taught baker. So I don't know what age I first started baking myself, but it was probably when I was a teenager. Okay, mom's in the chat. She can attest. But I think it was when I was a teenager that I started baking myself. But I usually just bake easier, well, things that I thought were easier at the time, like muffins and cakes and maybe brownies or something cookies, something like that. Um, I don't think I started baking sourdough until 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, I started baking sourdough. But I've been baking for a long time. So a teenager, let's see how old I am. So let's say I've been baking, like recreationally baking for about 15 years, but I mostly did quick breads and things like that. And then I switched over to sourdough about 3 or 4 years ago, and I never looked back. And I started my cottage bakery last year. So it is also a baby cottage bakery. And we're actually kind of on a break right now. I'm doing this, so I'm happy to be doing this. It gave me time to work on stuff like the blog and this, and a lot of other little things that I wanted to work on. But we'll start again in the summer. We're going to do it at a smaller scale because cottage bakery, if you don't know, cottage bakery means bake from home, and we live in an apartment, and we were selling at the farmers market, and we underestimated how popular we would be, so we were sold out super quick. We couldn't make enough for the farmers market, really. And my oven didn't like it. We had to service my oven last year, which is, you do have to service your oven sometimes, but it was because we were using it so much. We're using the oven so much. So this year we're going to do it in a smaller scale until we can upgrade, which hopefully eventually we can upgrade, and then we can maybe go back to the farmers market, or maybe we'll have a whole bakery. That'll be really great, but for now we're just taking it one step at a time. For most of this is almost a 101 class about baking. Yeah, that's what I hope to do. And if you look at previous streams, I tried to have some kind of theme to each one. Like the week we did soda bread, I tried to show you the difference between baking with baking soda and baking with natural yeast. So if you're interested in that, I'm also a teacher by trade, so I often get chats that say, "Oh, I feel like I'm in class, so sorry about that." But I think it's a good thing. You guys, you learn a lot. Firma, what kind of foods do you like to eat and make? And anyone else in the chat can answer as well. What kind of foods do you like to eat or make? I obviously love peanut butter. I love anything with peanut butter. Last week I had beans with a peanut sauce, a spicy peanut sauce, and I ate beans on toast. That's something I eat fairly often because beans are really healthy for you, and they're inexpensive, and they're just a great food. So I try to eat them as much as possible. So definitely beans. I eat a lot of bean curries and bean stews. Last week it was brown chickpeas I ate, and they're like regular chickpeas, but they're a little chewier. And you can get them at a South Asian grocery store or an Indian grocery store. They have, if you have a South Asian or Indian grocery store by you, they usually sell beans, dried beans in bulk in huge bags. I get them like that, and they're pretty cheap, and they have so many different varieties of beans. So it's like if you eat a lot of beans, it's like paradise. It's so good and it's so inexpensive. They also sell huge bags of spices. So if you like spicy food, like I like spicy food, go for it. And it's whole spices. Whole spices last a long time. If they're ground, they might lose a little bit of flavor, but whole spices last a very long time. So the more you know. But yeah, I like bean stews and bean curries. I like spicy food. Definitely Indian inspired food and stuff like that. Vermo says it all depends on the moment and what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm just inspired by seeing someone enjoying a dish I've never tried before. Other times, listening to music from a particular country sparks my creativity and makes me want to cook a dish from that culture. And occasionally, I'm motivated to tackle a challenging dish I've seen on YouTube. Okay, Vermo, I think that's similar. It does depend, and I see that you seem very interested in cooking, so that's cool. I also really like cooking. Baking is my number one, but I also really like cooking. They go hand in hand, in my opinion. They're connected, right? I feel like you can't really have one 100% without the other. I guess you can cook without baking, but I feel like with baking, you also usually like cooking as well. Yeah, I like watching YouTube videos of people cooking too, especially when I'm cooking. What's my favorite chef? Like a celebrity chef? I don't really pay attention to celebrity chefs. I don't know. I mean, I'm also, in case you didn't know, it doesn't matter. I am a vegan, so I don't really like a lot of celebrity chefs are not, and they're all also like anti-vegan for some reason. Like Gordon Ramsay just came around to it recently because I guess he realized it was okay to be vegan. I don't know, but I really like. So she's really old school. She's not really. I wouldn't call her a chef. She's more of a blogger, but she's been around for a long time. And she's not that active anymore. Isa Chandra Moskowitz. I'll put it in the chat. Isa Chandra Moskowitz. Yeah, I wouldn't call her a chef. She's more like a food blogger, but she's been around the block for a long time, way before even social media was really that big, like in the 2000s. And she's still around, but she's not that active anymore. She has I think she has 2 restaurants. She has one here in Brooklyn, and she has one in Omaha. And I've been to the one in Brooklyn, and it's really good. I think it kind of, in my opinion, got a little lower in quality during COVID, but overall, it's a good vegan restaurant. And yeah, she's just kind of old school vegan, but she posts like a lot of different. She used to. She's not that active anymore. She has cookbooks too. That I use, and I learned how to cook, and she's a personal favorite because I mean I learned how to cook a lot of different things from her, and now I don't really need to use her recipes unless I'm looking to recreate something that I used to make a lot. But I learned how to cook a lot from her, so she's one of my favorites definitely. But yeah, I don't pay attention much to the chefs. I think most of the people I follow are more like food bloggers and stuff like that. Paper Paws and Whiskers said, I watched this last on YouTube and I like the way she cooks. She tried to make as many things from scratch, which is what I've been trying to do. I like to make a lot from scratch too, as long as it's reasonable. But I think a lot of what I make is, for some people might think it's unreasonable, but I think it's, oh, we got a mango? I think it's good. We got a mango, everyone. So these are the mangoes I was talking about that they're little yellow mangoes, and they say champagne mangoes on them. You know, kind of read it. But they're so, this one's not ripe yet. It's still hard, but they're so sweet and they're so creamy. They're not stringy, like some mangoes are stringy, but they're so creamy. They're so good. So here's a real whole mango we have. But Paper and Paul's was saying she also likes freezer meals. Yeah, freezer meals are good, which I like because there's never enough time to cook for me. So Paper and Paws, you said I watched this last on YouTube. What is this? What did you watch on YouTube? Did I miss something? That sounds good. Yeah, wow, nice mango, right? Nice mango. Lady. Oh, do you remember who it was? Theo is Paper Paws and Whiskers' cat. What a cutie. Acre homestead. I love people who homestead. I'm always so jealous of them. I live in an apartment, so it's like maybe like bad to compare. But I like it when they're homesteaders. I think it's so cute. And they get a lot of from certain communities they get a lot of like hate because it's like, oh, this is not realistic. It's not realistic to do this. I'm like, it is realistic for them. They're doing it. Right? And they're probably saving a lot of money doing things themselves. But yeah, it's just what you prioritize, right? Everyone makes priorities of certain things. I think there are some things that I do see people making from scratch that I'm like, oh no, I would not do that. That seems like a lot of work for not enough payoff. But stuff like this peanut butter I showed you, it took me 3 minutes. It's way cheaper than buying peanut butter from the store, and it's the natural kind of peanut butter. If you don't want palm oil in your peanut butter, or other types of additives in your peanut butter, this is the way to go, and it tastes better. So there are some things that I'm just like, why wouldn't you make it from scratch? And I eat a lot of peanut butter, so it makes sense for me to just make it from scratch. This jug of peanut butter will probably last me 2 weeks, maybe less. And Firmo said, I also like the approach of doing things from scratch. I think you're in the right place, Firmo. And she said, I'm really into science, so getting to the bottom of how things work is super exciting for me. Yeah, well, if you like science, I think you'll like starting a sourdough starter. Because what you're doing is you're building a yeast and bacteria colony in a jar. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty sciencey. And Paper Paws and Whiskers says, yeah, I get all the gardening advice from her. Yeah, I might have to start watching her. I love homesteaders. Firmo said, I'll think about it. Yeah, take your time. Think about it. But yeah, there are some things that, for me, just make sense to make from scratch. I'm a big advocate, obviously, for making your bread from scratch. I understand that everyone can do that. It is, it's time consuming in that it is a time commitment, but a lot of it's downtime. You'll see if you come back on Saturday how we do it. If I weren't talking to you while I was doing all the baking process, most of it is downtime. Most of it, I mix it, I leave it, I do stretch and folds, I leave it again. A lot of it, dough is just resting. So it is a time commitment to some extent, but a lot of it is like you're not doing much. You're just letting the dough rise. So it's a good weekend project. Paper and Paws says, I recently started making my own jams, which was a lot easier than I thought. And it tastes so much better, and you can control how much sugar is in it, which I like. Yeah, making your own jams is so easy, and depending on what you make, you don't even have to add sugar to it. You don't have to add pectin to a lot of them. You can, but you don't have to. I make blueberry jam without any pectin, without any added sugar, and just a little bit of cardamom, because I like the way blueberries and cardamom taste together. And I just cook down the blueberries until it's really thick. And that's it. It's pretty easy. That's a good example, Paper, Paws, and Whiskers. Yeah, Vermo says that's fire. Yeah. You can also can it if you want it to last a long time. You can freeze it or you can can it. If you're interested in canning, I think Paper, Paws, and Whiskers would be interested in canning. I have a canning kit. It's just like a big pot. It's a huge pot. But basically you have to boil the jars until the lids pop. And there are instructions online of how to do it safely, but the lids have to pop so they seal. And then once the jam is sealed, then you can leave it in room temperature for up to a year or 2 years even. So I've done that before. And it was like kind of an experiment because I only did it once. But, well, I didn't do it once. I did it like a lot of times in 1 year. 1 year, I just canned everything. And then I just had canned goods for like 2 years. Yeah, Paper, Paws, and Whiskers. I think you'd like that. I think you'd like canning. And then you'd have, you need a basement with all your canned goods like the homesteaders have. You know, they have the basements and it'll be jars and jars and jars of stuff. I'm always like, wow, that was a lot of canning. Paper, Paws, and Whiskers says, I'll just toss some of Mike's stuff and make room for my canned foods. Yeah, you have to make room for your canning hobby. That's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do. But yeah, I always like the root cellar tours of the homesteaders, and they show all the jars, and they'll show all their potatoes, like huge sacks of potatoes, and other root vegetables. I'm always like, that looks like fun. It's a lot of work, though. It's a lot of work, I'm sure, but it looks like fun. Of course, that's their job now, so. But it still looks like fun. So yeah, what else is going on? Like I said, I'm on spring break this week. Well, next week, really. I don't know if anyone's doing anything for Easter or anything like that. Paper, Paws, and Whiskers said, I gotta say, I grew potatoes, really cool, last year, and homegrown potatoes are so much yummier than the ones you buy in the store. Were they a specific variety of potato, or were they just white potatoes or yellow potatoes? And what was the difference between the store-bought ones and the ones you grew, if you could remember? That's really interesting. That's really cool. I know Paper Paws and Whiskers knows this. I do have a small herb garden inside my house. So I have scallions, two parsley plants, a pepper plant, and I have a fig tree, a beautiful fig tree. And it's small, but it is a tree. It's really cool. It doesn't grow figs though. Maybe eventually it will, but it doesn't grow figs right now. So, but I do want eventually to have an actual garden, but right now it's not possible. Paper Balls and Whiskers, like I kind of went crazy and got a bunch of different types. They were all yummy. Yeah, so she doesn't remember. She's gonna have to do it again a bit and test everything out and take notes so we can all know what the different varieties of potatoes taste like. But yeah, eventually I'd like to grow like a lot of different fruits and vegetables, like maybe potatoes, but definitely one of my favorite vegetables, which you'll learn soon because we might be making something with beets soon. Hint, hint. Is beets, and I would like to grow beets, which are another root vegetable, but they're kind of hard to grow indoors. So I'll wait until I have a garden. Paper Paws and Whiskers said the difference was the taste and was fresher, and the texture was different as well. The texture was different. Yeah, I'd imagine the texture different. That's interesting because they kind of have to preserve the potatoes. Just like fresh onions are totally different than the onions you get at the store because they have to preserve they dry the onions before they take them to the store. Partially dry them. There's a word for it. I forgot what it is they do, but they do dry the onions. So I figured they do the same thing with the potatoes so they stay fresher longer. That's interesting. And Paper Paws and Whiskers said, I failed with beets last year. I'm trying again this year. Okay, let me know how it turns out because if you have a lot of beets, I'm coming to your house. Okay, and we're gonna make some beet dishes. Love beets. Beets taste good in both sweet and savory things. I think they're great. Does anyone else have a favorite vegetable? I know that's a weird one. I think most people don't like beets. Paper Paws and Whiskers says sounds good. Fermo or anyone else in the chat, do you guys have a favorite vegetable or fruit that you like to cook with or bake with? I bake with beets too. I bake and I cook with beets. They make everything red or like a purple red, and they taste really good. They're pretty mild tasting, but have a sweet vegetal kind of taste, but not too strong. I also really like peppers, but peppers are technically a fruit. Not that that matters too much, but I really like spicy peppers, but I don't know, it is a vegetable or a fruit, but it's also a seasoning. So I don't know if that counts. But I love peppers because I love spicy food. Sweet peppers are good too, but jalapenos are where it's at. And I like jalapenos and Fresnos quite a bit. If Fermo said it's a difficult question. Yeah, it's a difficult question because probably you like to cook with a lot of different things and you're not weird like me and develop obsessions with certain foods like peanut butter and beets. So that's probably why it's a difficult question. Paper Paws and Whiskers, what else are you planting in your garden this year? I think I'm just going to leave it as is and plant more parsley because my parsley plants do really well, and so I'm not going to tempt fate, and I'll just have like a million parsley plants, and I'll make like parsley pesto or something, which is really good. I mean, basil pesto is really good, but parsley pesto is also really good. Paper Paws and Whiskers says a lot. I have somewhat of a plan, but also I don't know if I have the room. Do you, Paper and Paws and Whiskers, have you ever tried to plant lemon verbena or verbena? It's one of my favorite herbs. I don't know how to describe the taste. It's lemony. It is lemony. It's almost like lemony mint, but it's not really mint. It's very fresh tasting. Very fresh tasting. And the plant looks like a little tree. Even though it's an herb, it looks like a little tree. And I did get one. I think I tried twice, but they died both times. Tragically. They both died tragically. I think they got a fungus, but the first one I brought home seemed like it died right away as soon as I got it home, which made me think that it already had a fungus before I got it. Sometimes you got to be careful when you get a plant from the nursery. It's sick when you get it, and then you get it home, and it spreads sickness to your other plants. That's always like my fear, and it happens not super often, but quite often enough that it's a fear. But I got a second one, and it lasted a little bit longer, which made me think that it probably wasn't sick from the nursery, but it did get sick once it got here. So I don't know if it probably just doesn't like being in my house. So maybe it wants to be outside or something. But yeah, they're herbs. They look like little trees. And you can eat the leaves. Obviously, you can make tea with the leaves. A lot of people make tea with the leaves. But I use it like as a finishing herb because it just tastes so fresh. And like I said, it tastes like lemon, like a lemon mint almost. It's so good. And I don't think I'll get another one just because I killed 2 of them. Yeah, Paper Paws and Whiskers. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I have parsley seeds, so I'm gonna start them by seed too. Um, so I'm probably this year I'll just go to the farmers market and they sell it at the farmers market in New York City. So if you live around or in New York City, but they probably sell it other places too. There's this one stall, which hopefully is still there. I think they'll probably still be there, but they have so many herbs. And I just love this stall because I love herbs. And I'll probably just get it from there a few times this year and just to treat myself because I just love those. But they are a little expensive, of course, because it's specialty. But if I have a garden outside, I would probably get a lemon verbena. They're supposed to be really hardy, but I killed them. So I kill some plants that are supposed to be hardy. I like to say I don't really have a green thumb, but I have sort of a purple thumb where I can grow some things really well and they last for years, and then other things I kill right away. So somewhat of a purple thumb. Like my parsley is like 3 years old. My pepper plant, I have no idea how it's still alive. I think I got that during the pandemic, so I think it's 4 years old. So yeah, I don't think pepper plants are supposed to live that long, but mine's still alive. So, and it still produces peppers, not that much, but it will. It's got some flowers on it right now, so the flowers will come to fruit eventually, and we'll have peppers. They're only little guys though. They're like this big. They're probably like this big. They're so small. But yeah, well, Paper Paws and Whiskers, you said you're planting a lot. Is there anything? What's the most thing you're most excited to plant this year? It's the first day of spring. This is an apt topic for the first day of spring. I'm only planting parsley, so that's the thing I'm most excited for. But I mean, in general, I get really excited to go to the farmers markets in the summer. Depending on what you get, so it depends on where you go. So the farmers market in New Jersey is pretty cheap, but the one in New York City is pretty expensive. Oh, Paper Paws and Whiskers, you told me about the blueberry bush. So Paper Paws and Whiskers says she's planting a blueberry bush, and I want a blueberry bush. I'm so jealous. So when I get my own property, I would also plant a blueberry bush. They're native too to this area, to New Jersey, and I think the East Coast in general. So very good plants. Um, but yeah, I get excited to go to the farmers markets to get blueberries, to get all different kinds of berries, fresh peaches, fresh apples, fresh herbs and greens, and fresh beets and stuff like that. And like I said, it depends on where you go. Like, um, I don't know where everyone lives, but in New Jersey, you can find some pretty inexpensive um, farmers markets. In New York City, like I said, they're pretty expensive, not inexpensive, but expensive. But just when I go to New York City to the farmers market, usually I'm after something like specific, like a specific herb or specific mushroom or something that's like, oh, I kind of want to treat myself. But usually I go to the one in New Jersey. Paper Paws and Whiskers says, but then I became adventurous and decided to get a grapevine. I don't know how that is going to work out, and I also want to grow watermelon, so I don't know how that's going to turn out either. Well, let me know. Let me know how the grapevine and watermelon turn out. Um, yeah. Uh, I have no advice on the grapevine and watermelon. But on that note, your house is going to look really cool. And it reminds me of, so my husband's from Los Angeles. And so before I met him, I had never been to Los Angeles or even to California. I had only been on the East Coast and maybe the Midwest a little. But yeah, and it wasn't very adventurous. I didn't go to the West Coast. And so when I went with him, I was so amazed by all the fruit trees and everything, because people in their lawns would have lemon trees and orange trees. And well, they have peach trees in New Jersey too, but they'd have peach trees and pomegranate trees, and they had grapevines on a trellis, and even we saw a few papaya trees. I was just so fascinated by it. I loved all the different trees, fruit trees, and all the plants too. But it was mostly the fruit trees that I was really fascinated by, because you don't see it as much here. Although there are fig trees here. Like I have one, and some of my neighbors have fig trees, and there is an apple tree here in the park, which is exciting for me. I was like, ooh, an apple tree, but you don't really see that as much here in people's lawns, fruit trees in people's lawns. So that was exciting for me. Paper Paws and Whiskers, your lawn is going to look really cool. It's going to be a lot of fruit trees and cool stuff going on in there. Maybe you can grow a mango tree. No, you have to do it inside. It would die here. Poor mango. But yeah, I can think of maybe something else that I do from scratch. I mean, there's a lot of things. Oh, something that, if you guys like spicy food, something that's really easy to make from scratch is to make your own chili oil. You really just, it's really just chilies and oil, and then whatever else you want to put into it. So I usually use onions in it, chili flakes. I use Korean chili flakes, but whatever chili flakes you want, whatever the spicy level you want. Korean chili flakes are kind of mild, but you can add maybe cayenne to it to even it out. And then usually I use some kind of bean paste. Like you can use miso or like the Korean bean paste, and there's a Chinese bean paste, but miso is probably the easiest to get. So some kind of fermented bean paste to give it like umami flavor, and then you just like fry it. You just like fry everything until it's done. Fry it you can look up instructions online to make sure you're doing it safely. I think it says to fry it for at least 5 minutes usually to make sure it's safe. But it's really easy. really good, really cheap. I try not to eat too much oily food, but I really do like chili oil. So that's something that is really easy to make, for example. And if you make, I want to do this soon, so you two can get the scoop. I don't know when I'll do it though. It might take me a little bit because I have so many other things that I want to do. But I want to do a chili oil focaccia. You know, focaccia usually has olive oil on top. So I was like, well, what if we just use chili oil? That sounds really good. So I want to do that, for example. But yeah, that's an example of something that's really easy to make. Jam is one. You can make your own sauces, like your own sauces for pasta is really easy. Or sauces for pizza. You can make your own. Oh, something that this is a good topic. And I mentioned this before, but I don't think you guys were here. And you guys will get the scoop. You two will get the scoop. I want to show you guys how to ferment things because I figured that people who are interested in sourdough might also be interested in fermenting. And I do have a lot of things that I ferment to make like a pickle or sauerkraut. For example, a few streams ago, I showed everyone I didn't show them how to do it, but I showed them my beet green sauerkraut. So paper paws and whiskers, jot this down. If your beets do well, okay, and you end up with the beet greens, don't throw out your beet greens, okay? Do not throw out the beet greens. You can use them. They're kind of like spinach, so you can use it like spinach, but if you don't like it like that, I think you should ferment them. Now, I think you'll like this paper paws and whiskers because it's kind of like canning, except you don't really have to can it because it's the fermentation keeps it fresh. Although I would refrigerate the beet greens because they get a little icky if you let it ferment too long. But essentially what you're doing is you just put a salt brine over whatever you want to ferment. And I have fermentation vessels, but you can use a jar when you're just starting out. And then if you get really into it, you can get like a crock, a fermentation crock. That'll make it easier and better for you. But it takes up a little space, so that's the only downside. But so just get a salt brine over whatever you're trying to make. If you're doing sauerkraut, cabbage, right? If you're doing beet green sauerkraut, which I make quite often whenever I have beet greens, put the brine over the beet greens and let it ferment on its own at room temperature. Depends on what you're making. Say about a week. The beet greens usually take a little less because they're a little fragile. And ta-da! You have it changes the flavor completely. It becomes tangy, and it depends on what you're fermenting, how the flavor profile comes out. But tangy is a good descriptor of what will happen. And you've made a pickle. You've made a naturally fermented pickle. So that's something that you could do. And that's something that I might show you one day, maybe in one of our like shorter streams like this one. I can show you how to get a fermentation started. And then maybe the week after, I can show you how it's looking because it takes about a week. So that might be something fun for us to do. And it is kind of like a science experiment. So that might be fun when we're not baking, which usually we'll be baking. But something else I ferment, that I ferment every year. I actually have a batch in the fridge that I should use up, but I ferment them every year. Is Paper Paws and Whiskers says, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it is. I think you'd like it, especially because you have a big garden. You already like jamming and canning. And I think you'd also like fermenting because it's a way to store things long term, right? If you ferment it, that's why people did ferment in the past, and now we just ferment kind of for fun. Although some people still ferment to store, like the homesteaders. But if you ferment it, the bacteria actually keeps the good bacteria keeps the bad bacteria away, essentially. That's what you do in a sourdough starter, too. In your sourdough starter, you shouldn't get a moldy sourdough starter because the good bacteria in the sourdough starter keeps the mold away. It's amazing, actually. it's quite amazing. And so that's what you're doing when you're making sauerkraut too, and kimchi and naturally fermented pickles. The good bacteria keeps the bad bacteria away, and then you have just a preserved product. So yeah, I can show you that one week, maybe in the summer, when we're doing our shorter streams. We can do some fermentation processes. But something else I ferment every year, I ferment a big batch of cranberries. Now, cranberries are really sour, and most people don't eat them raw. I can eat them raw because I'm a little cuckoo, but I love cranberries. And when you ferment them, usually when you ferment foods, they become more sour. When you ferment cranberries, for whatever reason, and this might be something to look into, like a sciencey thing happens, I don't know what happens, they become less sour. So when you ferment them, they become less sour, and they're actually easier to eat. They're still pretty sour, but they're less sour, and they're like so good, and it becomes fizzy. The bubbles from the fermentation make it fizzy, almost like a soda, and it's really good. So yeah, I have to eat the batch that's in the fridge before fall comes, and I get a new batch that I want to ferment. But yeah, you can also ferment things. This is not vegan, not strictly vegan, but I don't think either of you are vegan. So you can ferment things in raw honey too. So if you get like local raw honey that still has the natural bacteria in it, you could put cranberries in it or blueberries in it, or I've seen people do garlic in it. I'd be careful with garlic though. But peppers, I've seen people put peppers in it, and it ferments naturally in there. So that's another experiment to try if you're interested. I don't think we'll do this on the stream though, just because I want to keep this channel vegan. And although honey's like such a weird gray area, it's not strictly vegan, so we won't do that. But we can do the cranberries and the beet green sauerkraut and stuff like that. Playing my mango drum. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think I mentioned this a few times, but I never finish. Don't finish the sentence. But I am off, so this week, hopefully I'll have some time to get some more recipes on the blog that I haven't gotten on yet. I know you can get the miso banana bread on there yet, and I want to because we did that a few weeks ago. So hopefully that will be on there soon. And then I'm going to do some recipe testing so you guys can get the scoop before we start recipe testing. So next week I'm going to be doing, I called it in my planner, I wrote bagel week, but it's kind of bagel and pretzel week, and we'll see how it goes. But I want to just do a whole bunch of bagels and pretzels, bagels and pretzels are cousins, really. They're very similar processes. So I want to do a whole bunch of bagels and pretzels with the sourdough and just get really good at making them. And I'm going to try different flavors and stuff like that. So I'll probably, that week will probably end up streaming bagels just because that's what I'm recipe testing. So you guys will see that hopefully in 2 weeks after the pizza week. So that'll be fun. That's something I'm looking forward to. Whenever I'm off, I give myself more work. So, but it's fun work. So I'm okay with that. Yeah. Is anyone else doing anything, interesting this week? I don't think you guys are students. Paper Paws and Whiskers says same. Yeah. It's a habit, you don't, I'm excited to not have anything to do. So that way I can do all this other stuff that I've been planning for so long. Right. So I love being a teacher though. I can't knock it. I love being a teacher. It's actually kind of hard for me, at least it was at first, to kind of take a step back from teaching to focus on, doing this bakery. Cause I started my own business. So, it was a lot. I mean, my husband, of course, was helping me a lot, but it was a lot of work, and I can't do everything. So it was kind of hard for me. And my husband at first was like, "What?" I think he's in the chat. I think he's lurking in the chat. So he's like, why would why would you care so much about this? You want to start this business, you should just move on. But I've been teaching for a very long time, and I love it. And it gives me a sense of purpose, of course, to be with the students and help them write their essays and help them with their grammar. And some of the students are not, I shouldn't pick favorites, but some of my favorite students are the ESL students, who are, in my experience, are very hard workers and work very hard to learn English and perfect their English. So it gives me like a lot of purpose. So it is tough for me to take a step back from teaching. I'm still doing it now, but part-time. But I also love the business I started, and I'm like I said, I'm excited to not have work next week, so I can just make bagels all week. So you gotta balance it out, really. You gotta balance your life. But yeah, Paper Paws and Whiskers has the same problem I do. Just not enough hours in the day to do all the stuff you want to do. There's a lot of stuff to do. Okay, thank you, Paper Paws and Whiskers. Thank you for coming. Hopefully we'll see you on Saturday. But yeah, is anyone else who's still in the chat? Are you guys doing anything interesting next week? Or maybe for Easter? If you're doing anything for Easter, do you do any baking for Easter? I've said this before, and I said this again. I'm not a big holiday person, so I didn't plan to bake anything special for Easter. But around this time, everyone makes those hot cross buns. And I've never made them before. So I was thinking of making some and just giving them, or some of them, to my neighbors. I think it's for Good Friday you're supposed to eat them, so I'll make them on Good Friday. And they usually appreciate it when I give them something. So I might do that this year. But other than that, I usually don't plan on making anything for Easter. But if you guys do, I'm always interested to hear. Because like I said, I didn't even know about hot cross buns until I saw people making them on Instagram. And then I was like, oh, is that something I should be interested in? But now I want to try them. I want to try making them. I think I basically got the gist of what it is. It's like it's an enriched dough with raisins in it or other dried fruits in it. So I think I've made dough like that before. So I think I can do it and just shape it like I might shape it like a loaf, like make a hot cross loaf, and make 2 loaves and give one to each of my neighbors. I might do that, and that'll be fun. So I won't stream that, but I'll take pictures of how it comes out, and my neighbors will give me feedback, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe next year for Easter we can do it if it comes out good this year. Or any other holiday coming up. I know it's already Ramadan season. It's different every year, but this year it's around the same time as Easter. So if you celebrate that, what are you making for that? Passover is far away, though. I didn't realize it was, I think it's at the end of April this year. So I won't ask about that yet. I won't ask about that until April. Firmo says, I'm totally a squirrel with a horde of acorns watching the stream. I'm just soaking it all in. Too mesmerized to even remember to drop a comment. No, Firmo, that's okay. If you just want to watch, that's totally fine. But I'm glad you're here, Firmo. And thank you for being here and hanging out with us. And like I said, if you want updates on the stream, like for example, if I change the day around or change the time because I remember last week I had to change the time because I didn't feel well the night before. So I changed the time just in case I didn't feel well in the morning. And I posted that on Instagram. So if you want to keep up, you can follow me on Instagram or on YouTube, or on the Discord. Because now that I have the Discord server, I will also update on there if something like that happens. But yeah, so if you want to stay in touch, those are the places to follow. I do update my Twitch under my panels where it's a schedule. I update that every week. But right now, I don't think I can add anything to like a Twitch story or anything. I think I have to be affiliate before I could do that. But I am almost to affiliate, so maybe soon I'll be able to do that. I'll be affiliate. I actually think I only need one more subscriber, which is really crazy. So I think I'll be affiliate maybe by the end of this week or next week. So that's really cool and that's really exciting. Thank everyone for being here, by the way, because I couldn't do it obviously without you guys watching and following. But yeah, let me think if there's any more announcements before we end the stream. Today's my shorter stream. So like I said earlier, but Fermo and others, I don't know if you all were here, but I'll mention it again. So the way my streams are scheduled right now is I do Wednesday and Saturday streams. Wednesday's a shorter stream where I just usually eat lunch with you after I come back from work. Today you got an extra, you got a bonus. I made peanut butter too. But usually I just eat lunch and then we chat. I give you any updates and we'll just talk about it. Doesn't have to be bacon related, but it can be. And then Saturday's the day, the big stream that we actually bake something together, and that's what we're making pizza this Saturday. And all that information is also on my Twitch page. Next Wednesday, I won't be streaming my what I call midweek toast. I skip it the last Wednesday of the month, just so I can. And next week I'm off, so it's even better. I'll have so much time to work on other things. So I skip the last Wednesday of the month just so I have extra time to work on my YouTube videos and coming up with ideas and recipe testing and all that fun stuff. So far that's how I've been working it out. So next Wednesday I won't stream, but I will stream next Saturday. And I'll see how I work things out. I'll let you know next week how I work things out, because I was thinking of doing a double stream on the weekend, but no promises. I have to figure out. I know I'm making bagels, but I have to figure out how I'm doing it. I think last time I made bagels, I did a double stream. I did Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see. But yes, and in the summer, like I said, I know it's March, so it's early, but really for me, the summer starts in May, my summer vacation. So in the summer, I might change the schedule just to make it, because my midweek toasts, I mean, they're fun, but they're usually a little quieter. I'm happy you're here, whoever's here. I'm not saying there's nothing against you guys being here. I'm so happy you're here. But usually my Saturday streams are more vibrant. More people come and more people are interested, because I think it's because we're actually doing something. It might also be because it's on the weekends and more people are available. So once I have a different schedule, I'll have pretty much an open schedule in the summer. I'm going to switch it around, but that won't be for a while. So right now, it's Wednesdays and Saturdays, except every last Wednesday of the month, I won't be here. So next Wednesday, I won't be here. So this Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be making pizza. If you wake up late, or maybe you don't run by Eastern Time, whatever the case may be, we'll be on the stream for a few hours. So I'm not sure how long it'll take for me to make the pizza, but I'm going to show you the whole thing, including baking it. So it'll probably take at least 4 hours for us. And I also talk to you while I'm doing it, so it takes a little longer. So I think it'll take at least 4 hours. So if you wake up late, come in and catch us in the middle. And, you can always go back and watch the beginning if you missed a step or something like that. So come next week, we will be making pizza. And also the mango sourdough, for those of you who weren't here earlier, the mango sourdough that I made last week, it's up on the blog, jerseygrowbreadshop.com. If you want to recreate it, it's there for you. And another big announcement that I made earlier, but if you guys weren't here when I made it, my Discord server is up, and it's up for you to share your bread or ask questions, or just talk or keep updated on my streams. So it's really, it's my Discord server, but of course it's for you. So I want you to share what you bake, whether it's something we made on stream together, or whether it's something you just baked on your own, or you're experimenting with something. Share what you're doing, and we could look at it. And it's exciting for me to see everyone baking, and I'm glad that people can come together because of my Twitch streams and talk about baking and cooking and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I think those are all the updates. I'll probably, because there'll be more people on Saturday, I'll mention it again on Saturday that I have the Discord. But other than that, thank you for coming to my stream, my midweek toast. I hope to see you on Saturday, where I'll actually be showing you how to make some sourdough pizza. Are there any other questions or comments, suggestions? Okay, so then I'll see everyone on Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, if you're not, this is one more thing to mention. If you're not here at the stream and you miss it, but you want to watch it, you can always watch it back on Twitch. It stays on there for 7 days. Once I become affiliate, I believe it stays there for 14 days. I'll also make clips of it, so you can see the little clips of it if you want. And then I'll upload it on my YouTube, which is also at Jersey Girl Bread Shop, linked on my Twitch page as well. So you can always watch them back if you miss them. So don't, of course you're not obligated to come. It's your life, and people are busy at certain times. But if you're like, oh, I wish I saw them making the mango bread, that stream is still on Twitch, so you could still go back and watch it. And then eventually, I'm usually late to it, so I'm sorry, but I do it before it gets off Twitch at the very least. I will put it on my YouTube page, and you can watch it back on my YouTube page. So that is a possibility, is all I'm saying, if you miss the stream. But regardless, I hope to see you on Saturday. If not, you can always go back and watch the stream. Thank you for coming to this stream, and I hopefully will see you soon. All right, bye everyone.